Guys, so based on some of your feedback, what I'm going to do is just gonna go through some examples on reviewing on multiplying binomials and then the special case binomials. So kind of just going through multiplying. So if I just create like x plus 4 times 3x minus 9. So with a problem like this, you could use one of two methods. You can either use one, you can use FOIL, or two, you can use the box method, okay? There's just two binomials here, so you can pick and choose either one that you want to do. I'll go through both with different type of examples, but for this first one, I'm going to use the FOIL method. So remember FOIL, it stands for first, outer, inner, last. So I'm going to multiply my first terms together. So I'm going to have x times 3x, which x times x, remember, is going to be where you add your exponents together. So 1 and 1 gives me 2. So this becomes 3x squared. Now I'm going to do my outer. So that's the outermost terms. So x times, and remember you got the sign with this number. So x times negative 9. So really that's negative 9x. And then the next term that you're going to have is your inner. So 4 times 3x. That gives me a positive 12x. And then you're going to have your last terms of 4 times negative 9, which is negative 36. So now that you have this done, you're going to combine your like terms. So I can combine negative 9x and positive 12x. So I'm going to bring down my 3x squared. I'm going to do negative 9x plus 12x. That gives me 3x minus 36. And there's the product of your two binomials using the FOIL method. So if it helps you guys, you can always write FOIL down the side of your paper. You could write it across the top. You could write it above each of your lines. So first, outer, inner, last. Whatever is going to help you in order to do the problem. So I told you guys I would do it both ways. So the next problem I'm going to do with you guys is using the box method. So remember, it doesn't matter what your binomials look like when you're doing either of them using the FOIL or the box method, just as long as you use all of the steps. So I'm just creating these on the fly. Can't ask you guys what are some good numbers. So I'm just making them up myself. So box method, kind of like Punnett squares that you guys do in science class, but you're doing a binomial by a binomial, so you only need a 2 by 2. And remember, you write your terms across the top and then down the side. So the first binomial, I'm going to write across the top. So 3x. Remember, the sign has to go with that second number, so minus 4. My second binomial is going to go down the side, so this is going to become 2x. Remember, sign comes with me, 7. Now remember, you multiply the two together to get the value for in each of the boxes. So you take what's across the top and what's down the side to give you what the product is. So 3x times 2x is going to give me 6x squared. 3x times negative 7 is negative 21x. And then negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. And now I have negative 4 times negative 7, which gives me 28. And remember, you have to combine like terms still because they're both x terms. So along this diagonal, you're going to combine them. So that is going to give me a negative 29x. So writing my final polynomial, you have 6x squared minus 29x plus 28. And there's your product. So again, guys, it doesn't matter what method you choose, just as long as you choose the one that is going to work for you, so then you can multiply correctly. I'll give you guys a few problems for if you guys want to try them yourself, and then I'll write the answers. So in a moment, they'll be up here for you guys, and then you guys can try them. All right, here they are. So pause the video and then try them, and my answers will be there when you're ready. All right, there you have it. So if you're still having trouble with just using regular binomials and using either the FOIL or box method, reach out to me. I'd be happy to walk you through some other problems. So right now what we're going to look at doing is a binomial by a trinomial. So like if you have like x plus 4 times x squared minus 2x plus 3. Okay, so you guys could simply do one of two things. You can either use your distributive method, okay, or again, you can use the box method. It doesn't matter which one you want to do. For the first one, I will use the distributive method, and then I'll do one with the box method. So you're going to do x times x squared, which gives you x cubed, because remember, again, you add those exponents. X times negative 2x, which gives me negative 2x squared. And x times 3 is 3x. I forgot to mention this before getting started, but it's really important that when you're distributing, you distribute each term to everything, okay? So each term in here has to get distributed to each term in this one. So now I'm going to do the 4. So 4 times x squared gives me 4x squared. 4 times negative 2x is negative 8x. And 4 times 3, that gives me 12. So now all I have to do is combine my like terms. Well, x cubed is the only one I have of that. And I'm just going to put a little slash through it to show that I did it. Now you have negative 2x squared, positive 4x squared. So combine them, that gives me 2x squared. Then you have 3x and negative 8x. So that's negative 5x. And then you finally have that last term right there, which is positive 12. So when you multiply a binomial by a trinomial, in this case, you're going to end up with x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x plus 12. Okay, so that's using the distributive method. Now we're going to try using the box method. So again, I'm just going to create a binomial and multiply it with a trinomial. And we're going to kind of just do it a little bit different now. So I have 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. So using the box method, you're going to need a 2 by 3 box in order to do this one. So again, you're going to need to write your binomial going down one side and then your trinomial going across the other. So 3x minus 2 going down the side, and then I have 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. Remember, you take the sign with the number. So now we're going to do the multiplication. Again, you do the top down the side. So you have 2x squared times 3x, so that gives us 6x cubed. 2x squared minus, or 2x squared times a negative 2 gives you negative 4x squared. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x. Negative 4 times 3x, negative 12x. Negative 4 times negative 2 is a positive 8. So again, you're going to have to combine your like terms. You look along the diagonals. In this case, there's 2 of them that you're going to have to worry about combining. So across the top, you have a 6x cubed, so there's no other cube term, so you have 6x cubed. Now you have 9x squared and negative 4x squared, so that gives you positive 5x squared. And then you have negative 6x and negative 12x, so that gives you negative 18x. And then finally, you have your positive 8. So your final answer then is 6x cubed plus 5x squared minus 18x plus 8. Like before, guys, with just doing multiplication by binomials, it doesn't matter what method you choose. Just choose the method that works for you. All right, I'll give you guys some you try problems for you guys to try, and then I'll give you the answers. All right, here's the 3 problems for you guys to try. Pause the video again, and then you guys can try them. All right, guys, here are the answers. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. The one thing to make sure that you remember is that you're distributing each one of the terms in your binomial to each one of the terms in your trinomial. That's the most important thing, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the special cases of multiplying binomials. So there's 2 special cases. You have the difference of 2 squares and then perfect square binomials. So starting with perfect square. With the perfect square ones, there's 2 ways of doing it. You either have it in the form of a plus b quantity squared, or you have it in the form of a minus b quantity squared. Now with that, just as a reminder, when it's squaring it, it's not that you distribute the exponent in, it's saying that you have 2 of those terms, okay? So if I have a plus b quantity squared, that's like saying I have a plus b times another a plus b. You don't distribute in. That's probably the most missed thing that I noticed in some of your investigations, that a lot of you were just taking this 2 and distributing it in. You don't do that. All right. So with that, with both of these perfect squares, there was the general form of a plus b or a minus b. So then when you wrote it out, you would have either a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, or you have it in the form of a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So whatever sign is in the middle here, whatever sign's in the middle here, that's going to be what the sign is of your middle terms. So if you're having plus and then it's a squared part, you're going to have addition in the middle. If you're going to have minus and then it's squared, it's a minus. But that's probably the one thing you need to know. You know, when I was doing office hours on Tuesday, someone had asked, how do you know what form to write your final answer in? Because a lot of you are like, well, shouldn't I write it in standard form from highest exponent down? The answer is when you're doing multiplying of binomials, you're just going to simplify it. And then whatever term you got last with the multiplication, that's going to be the last term. So like in this case, like I would have gotten this b squared last. So that term goes last. The middle terms here are important to stay in the middle of your 2 variables. So let's just practice with some examples with perfect square binomials before I do difference of 2 squares. So let's say I have the form of x plus 4 quantity squared. Now, also guys, just as a reminder, if you feel more comfortable with the Euler box method, you're welcome to do that. It's just going to help you when you guys do take the keystones to know the general forms, just because it's going to help speed the process along. So you could do FOIL with where you write it out, because there are 2 of these x plus 4s, or if you chose to do the box method, doesn't matter. I'm going to use the perfect square binomials though in order to practice this. So remember, you should identify what a and b are. I'm just doing it for this. A is that first term, which is x. B is that second term, which is 4. Remember, the general form of this is a squared. I have plus here, so that means it's plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay. Filling in what I know. So a is x, so that's x squared plus 2 times a, which is x, times b, which is 4, plus b squared. And then simplify, I wrote b squared when in reality that should be 4 squared. So then simplifying this, you get x squared plus 2x times 4 is 8x plus 4 squared, which is 16. And then that would be your final answer. I've also had some people reach out based on the investigation saying, why can't I just multiply x times 4 and then times it by 2? That's exactly what this 2ab is saying. So if that works for you guys, you're more than welcome to do it. That's actually how I do it. I'd go, okay, I got to multiply x times 4 and then multiply that by 2. So let's look at doing another example. This time I'll do subtraction. So if I have like x minus 11 squared, now you just take your first term here and you write it as a square term. So that becomes x squared minus, you need to take 2 times the first term times the last term. Remember, you don't take the sign with the number. You just take the number plus that last term squared. So that becomes x squared minus 22x plus 121. Again, don't distribute that term in, okay? They're big no's, okay? Don't do that, okay? You actually have to write out that you have 2 of those x minus 11s. Not that you actually have to write it out, but you guys need to know that there's 2 of those terms. It's like saying x squared when you guys tell me I have 2 of those x's that I'm multiplying together, okay? So let's try a few more. So like what happens if I have like 2x minus 6 squared? So you have to take that first term and square it. I'm subtracting here, so I know I need to subtract 2 times the product of my 2 terms. So that's 2x times 6 plus your last term squared. Now remember, this 2 goes to both values in here. So 2 squared gives you 4. And then you have x squared minus 2 times 2x is 4x. 4x times 6 is 24x plus 36. And that would be your final answer for multiplying the 2 binomials of 2x minus 6 quantity squared. All right, I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to let you guys go. So the last one I'm going to do here is one where you're going to have it raised to the 3rd power. So like if I were to take 3x minus 2 all raised, or let's do plus, all raised to the 3rd power. So in order to do this one, what you're going to have to do is break this down so then you have it as 3x plus 2 squared times another 3x plus 2. Okay, so now you have 3 terms here still, but one of them is a perfect square that we can deal with. So again, this square term has to go to both terms in here. So 3 squared gives me 9. X squared plus, now if I do 3x times 2, that's 6x. Now I still have to multiply that by 2 to get the middle term. So 6x times 2 is 12x. Plus this last term here is squared. So 2 squared gives me 4. So now what I have is a trinomial multiplied by a binomial. So to do that, you're going to have to distribute. If you need to rewrite it so the binomial is first, you guys can do that. Okay, and then just do the multiplication. So you get 27x cubed plus 36x squared plus 12x plus 18x squared plus 24x plus 8. All right, and then combining like terms. So you only have one cube term, so 27x cubed. Square terms, you have 36x squared and 18x squared. That gives us 54x squared. 12x and 24x is 36x plus 8. Okay? And there you have it. So even if you have it raised to a 3rd power, you can still use your perfect square binomials. So then the last part was the difference of 2 squares. So remember with the difference of 2 squares, that is when you had it. So then you had like an a plus b and then an a minus b. Now, one thing with this is because you have the plus and the minus of it, there's no middle terms, okay? Because they end up canceling each other out. So when you have the plus and minus, you're not going to have any middle terms, meaning your final answer is just your first term squared minus your last term squared. And the reason why this one is minus is because you have a positive times a negative. Positive times a negative always gives us a negative. So if I did the example like x plus 4 times x minus 4, you just have your first term squared minus that last term squared, which gives us 16. As always, you can still FOIL if that helps you. But if I were to FOIL this, you get x squared minus 4x plus 4x minus 16. And if you notice, these are the opposites of each other, so they cancel each other out. And that's how you get your final answer. Same thing goes if you have it, so like it's 4x minus 5 times a 4x plus 5. Okay, opposite signs in the middle here. So you're going to take your first term of 4x and square it. You subtract it with that last term squared. Again, this 2 has to go to both terms in here, so you get 16x squared minus 25. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some examples for you guys to try. All right, so here you go. Try these 3. And there you have it. So this one right here is considered a difference of 2 squared. This one is the perfect square. And this one down here is also perfect square. Okay, so that kind of sums up what lessons 6.5 and 6.6 is on. So for the quiz, it's important to know how to use your FOIL method, how to use your distributive method, whether you're doing it with binomial by binomial, or if you're doing it as a binomial by a trinomial. Okay. Again, guys, you can always use that box method in order to solve and multiply. Okay, it's not like you always have to use FOIL or distributive. You can use the box method also. And it's important to know the 2 different special cases. So you have your difference of 2 squares. Okay, so that's in the form where you have 1 positive and 1 negative. And then your perfect squares, okay? So that's when you have it as like x plus 7 squared and x minus 7 squared. So either or, okay? So take your time. If you are still struggling with the material, please reach out to me. I'll have office hours for you guys to take advantage of. But take your time as you're doing the quiz. There's no need to rush through it. As always, I'm here for you if you need me. Have a great day, guys, and good luck on your quiz.